250 years of America and $250,000 from KFAN. Each week, that's a lot more.
What?
Each weekday through July 3rd, you can list for your shot at a share with $2,500. Enter the keyword at KFAN beginning at 8 a.m. The keyword for this hour is America. America. KFAN.com, keyword America.
It's a good day for that to be the keyword at 2 o'clock today. America will try to beat the Aussies. And Brett hasn't offered up any Socceroos mentions this morning. A little disappointed in that, but the keyword's America. So 250 years, $250,000, $2,500 is actually what is at stake for you right now.
It's a lot of numbers.
KFAN.com, I got a text line mention here. Preposterous statement, quote, "You can look up the soccer highlight if you want." I love it. I love it. Joining us now from an exotic, undisclosed location, Lavelle Neal III, columnist, Star Tribune. How you doing, Lavelle?
I'm doing great. You know, all these soccer haters could just stuff it for the next several weeks. You know what? You're going to have to take it. It's going to be on the radio. It's going to be talked about. The United States is going to go on a run here and get to at least the quarterfinals. So it's going to be front and center. All you people are, soccer is boring. Oh, how come they don't stop the clock for injuries? You know what? Just deal with it, because it's the soccer fans' time now. We're on top. You're not. Just deal with it.
We get 1 month every 4 years, and we are soaking it in. And I got pumped up earlier today, Lavelle, because I started off the show with Josh Wolf. He's an assistant with the Loons now, but we were kind of going down memory lane about the 2002 run, and now I just hear you mentioning quarterfinals. Why not dream big with this roster and this group, what we saw last Friday, and hopefully what we see today? Are you dreaming big?
After watching the Paraguay game and knowing that history says that when you have like a dominant game one performance, that kind of bodes well for the rest of the tournament. And that's how the United States looks. Yeah, I mean, we could dare to dream. We could dare to be greedy. We could dare to expect, to hope that they can do more than that, because it looks like a really good side. Now, the Christian Pulisic thing is problematic, because I don't think he should be playing if he's not 90% with that calf.
Yeah,
I'd rather have him for a long haul. I wouldn't want to risk him against Australia if he's still struggling. It was great to see highlights of him working out on the side. But if you're not training, if you're not mixing it up with your teammates, that means they're afraid of him getting kicked in the calf again and aggravating the injury. I would lean toward not. I would have him on the sideline. I would break glass in case of emergency. That would be my plan for Pulisic tomorrow against Australia, unless it's all a ruse and they know he's going to be fine. We won't know for sure, but I don't want to risk it, because I think the United States can do some things here. I don't want to overact too much after one game, but the way they played under Ponch, the mentality they showed, the decision making, the ability to break down a team that's playing a low block, that was all very encouraging to me, thinking that they could get positive results. But they also have to get into a game where someone punches them and see how they can punch back. So I'm waiting to see how that happens. I mean, that happens until they play Turkey, but we'll see. I'm very encouraged coming out of game one. That's why I make sure to make the right lineup decision going into game two.
Well, into game two, I mean, if he's going to be in the mix to play, whether off the bench or potentially start, don't you just start him? I think if you put him on the bench, you validate the injury, versus being in a spot understanding that effectively of your 5 substitutions, that one of them is on potential Pulisic walk. So you put him in the starting 11, you get him on the field. And then you go opposite. You take him out again at half if it persists. What do you think about that? You validate the injury if you start him on the bench today.
I have no problems validating the injury by starting him on the bench. That means I'm just being careful. And the thing about this is that, once again, I think it's a good enough team to beat Australia without Christian Pulisic. And I just want him to be as healthy as long as possible. I'm worried about the long game here. So you're saying no, you put him on the team sheet then, if he's got any sort of injury. I guess if that's my choice, either start him or not have him on the sheet.
Yes,
I wouldn't have him on the sheet then. I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, Lavelle. Either he's in the starting 11 or he's not participating today. And then, even Pochettino himself, and there's language gaps and all of that. So maybe I'm reading too deeply, but he had said something, I think after training, maybe it was yesterday afternoon, that, we're going to see he's been working hard, but if he can't go in this game, we're hopeful he's available for Turkey. Well, suddenly now I'm reading into that. I'm like, well, this thing is bad. This thing is awful. And maybe they absolutely shouldn't play him. So my head's spinning about it. I don't want to just say, hey, leave him on the pine because we're good enough to beat Australia regardless. We have a chance to win the group today, beat Australia. And then if Paraguay gets a point or draws or wins against Turkey, we win the group. And that means a ton. So I'm looking at this game as being, if he can go, he absolutely needs to be in the mix.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The potential of sewing this thing up, it'd make it easier to rest them against Turkey. And this could be a ruse too, Nori. It could be a ruse. They could be playing this up to make Australia wonder about if he's going to play or not. Only the fact that they already know that they're going to play him, that he's going to start, and he's going to shine again.
Yeah,
could be a ruse. Gamesmanship is a thing in a tournament like this when it comes to. Can the big players for teams play or not because of injury?
Well, we've been maybe we fell for it as we've spent a few minutes talking about it. Last couple of minutes here, and just thank you, cold calling in, because I know you're pumped about this. You're down south somewhere. I don't know where you are, but you're going to be watching this game, I assume.
I'm out west.
Oh,
I'm out west where the high's going to be 105 today.
Go west, young man. Yeah. Oh, 105. Yeah. No offense, Lavelle. I'm talking about guys like us aren't built for that kind of weather. It's
90 right now. I'm sitting out in the patio, and it's beautiful outside. I never thought that sitting in 90 would be beautiful, but when I landed yesterday and got the hair dryer action coming out of the airport, I was like, oh boy, here we go. So, by the way, you brought up the goalie for Mexico.
Yeah,
and it made me think, and I got on our quick during the break. What the hell happened to David Ochoa? Remember him?
Yeah, Ochoa for Mexico, right?
Because he was the United States goalie, and he switched allegiances to Mexico. He's 26 now. I have not, because the theory was he would replace the other Ochoa. He would be like the heir apparent.
Yep.
Because he was young, he was a prodigy. He's disappeared. What the hell happened to him?
Well, he hasn't. He never made it to the senior team. He never made it beyond the U21s for Mexico. It was a complete disaster move for him. And I think.
Go ahead.
Well, I just because I remember what you're talking about, and then he was bouncing around and just team hopping in Major League Soccer. I think most recent, I don't even know if he's playing right now, because last I saw he was out in L.A. with their second team. I mean, that's brutal.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So no, and Guillermo Ochoa, of course, we know him as good as it's ever been in net for Mexico, but now this Raul Rangel. Some Jalisco kid rolling up through Guadalajara just won a game and a group for his nation in the city that he grew up playing the sport in. That's what's so awesome about that, Lavelle.
Yeah, South Korea could have gotten a goal out of that game.
Yeah, they should have.
Bad for them.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing about just going back to the game right quick. The worst team to play when they're leading 1-0 in the second half is Mexico, because the flopping starts. The embellishment starts. They start doing Mexico things. They couldn't do that in the second half against South Korea. That showed me that they're a little worried about giving up and tying goal. Because the Koreans' industrialness and their hustle and their intensity, I knew they were going to give Mexico a game. They just lacked finishing, and there was a discombobulation in front of their net when Mexico scored, which is unfortunate. But I'm not, after looking at Mexico's first two games, I've got them ranked about maybe the 13th or 14th best team left in this tournament.
Hey, a couple more for you here. I just got a text, 64686. Listener's wondering, he says, I thought Common was the only one to eat while on the air. What are you eating right now, Lavelle?
I got a fruit cup in front of me right now, actually.
Okay. Well, it sounds delicious.
And a cup of coffee. Nothing major right now.
Like one of those, like the mixed fruit cup with like the pineapple and maybe there's a grape, a little cantaloupe, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Sipping on a little coffee.
Oh.
The meal's going to get a little more intense here as the day goes along. So I'm kind of starting slow with a little fruit base for starters here, man.
No, that makes total sense. So it's U.S. wins today, with or without Mr. Pulisic. How do they get it done, and what do you think the final score looks like?
Well, I think Australia's going to be a little more rugged team to play against. They're going to be more physical. They got like a 6'6" center back, I believe. That's going to be problems on set pieces. There's aerial prowess is going to be an issue. If the United States moves the ball like they did, and if they find spaces to get their wingers into the attack, get Dest involved, get Dest into the box, and whoever replaces Pulisic, that'll probably be Tillman. Tillman will probably move into that spot, and then they probably start someone like Sebastian Berhalter. That's my guess. Maybe Rodon. There's a big groundswell of support for Rodon to at least get on the field because he played at the University of Washington in games in Seattle.
Right.
Australia's going to be jacked for this. I guess some American pundit, the day of the draw, called the Australia-USA game a layup for the U.S., and Australia has not forgotten that. That's been a big rallying cry in the land down under. The local newspaper, The Telegraph, had a front page headline that said, "Sorry, Donald Trump, but it's time to make America groan again." So they're wound up for this one. So it's going to be intense, man. So the United States has to match Australia's intensity and play the intentional attacking soccer that led to a nice win against Paraguay.
I absolutely love it. Hey, thanks for checking in today. Enjoy your time. Try to stay cool. Smart move, starting with the fruit cup and grow from there. But we'll catch up. I'm sure we'll text about this game later today.
Yeah, and then hopefully we have some sort of podcast between this game and after this game and before the Turkey game.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. That's all Brett's fault. He's just obsessed with Carolina Hurricanes hockey, Knicks basketball, and Braves baseball right now. So we'll figure out timing on that. Have a great weekend, brother.
Braves baseball? I don't know who's a Braves baseball fan.
Yeah, it's a long story. Wow. Have a great day, my friend.
Well, hey, take care.
All right, see you, brother. That's Lavelle. An undisclosed exotic location. It's already 90 degrees, high of 105. He's eating a fruit cup. Thought Common was the only one to eat while on the air. Brilliant text. Thank you for that. 64686. When we return, hoping to have Peter Carline on. Now, Peter Carline used to be Daily Mail. Now it's Athletic FC. And, of course, he's been our over-the-pond Vikings-related consultant and correspondent. But of course, the three Lions are going to enter this conversation, that being England, that being the World Cup. And I want his thoughts on his squad, his thoughts on our team as we look ahead to Australia at 2 p.m. today, local time. Peter Carline joins us next, 9 to noon.
You're listening to Eric Nordquist in for Paul Allen on The Fan.
From the 1-800 Ask Gary Traffic Center. This report is...
Joining me now from England, World Cup conversation with Peter Carline at Peter Carline via X. How are you doing this morning, sir? Well, good evening to you, I should say. It's around 5:30, I believe, local time out London way. But how you been? It's good to catch up.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Very, very well. It's a very hot summer's day and looking forward to the next World Cup fixtures starting in Seattle.
And, our conversation over the, yes, yep, absolutely. Over the years, Peter, the conversation has been so dominated by Vikings football and, what's up with this and how's the view overseas. And we're going to go over there. And, this last year at Tottenham once again, got to catch up with you a few years ago at Tottenham against those Saints. But, this time around, once every 4 years, just trying to sink our teeth into this World Cup. Just what have you thought about the tournament and it being over here in America, Mexico, and Canada as the hosts?
Tournament, 104 games, the expansion to 48 teams. It's great seeing Mexico hosting another World Cup, third World Cup. I think they should probably hold more games than 11, but there you go. I feel that it's probably been good for America to see different different cultures and how they work. The Scots have drunk Boston dry, haven't they, and woken people up with bagpipes. And is it Lawrence, Kansas as well, have fallen in love with Algeria? Just the different mentalities and the fun that a World Cup brings is like nothing else. And there's been so many goals. It's the highest scoring World Cup since, average goal per game since 1958. And I think most importantly, America won its first game. Because if you'd have drawn or lost, and you want it handsomely as well, so the whole country's going to be G'd up and ready to go for Australia tonight and beyond. I mean, you're in the last 32, aren't you, already with a win? So on it goes, and same for Canada, same for Mexico.
Yeah, it's been and that part of it, from a marketing standpoint, from a fanfare standpoint in the United States, it really did matter to get off on the right foot. It mattered to win decisively, as you mentioned it, with the 4-1 win over Paraguay. Mattered a ton, of course, for Team Canada as well. Just the fervor around that team, trying to find their way to their first victory in the World Cup as a nation. Mexico, always known. I mean, you can chalk them up to get out of the group. What can they do in the knockout rounds? Now they're hosting their own games over the next 3, thanks to winning the group last night. But what have you thought about England? I mean, the United States, whatever their expectations are in the tournament, have really never been as high as what you want out of the 3 Lions in England. And they get that 4-2 win over Croatia. And it was a little hairy at half. Peter Musa, a kid that plays in Major League Soccer here in the States, down in Dallas, gets to score that game-tying goal just before the break. But then it was like, we're just going to turn it on. That's one aspect of this tournament so far, Peter, that's been kind of fun, whether it was Mbappe scoring 2, your guy Harry Kane scores 2, my guy Balogun gets a couple, the hat trick from Messi. The big timers, there was, I believe, we had a hat trick from Canada yesterday as well.
Jonathan David, yeah.
There you go. The big timers have shown up in these spots, and I think that's part of why this has been so entertaining as well.
I mean, the England game was. I mean, it started fairly tetchily, I would say, and then they went ahead. Croatia pulled them back. 2 terrible goals to give away, and they were 2-1 up just before halftime, and they conceded. Get the FC Dallas chap, and then they went into halftime, and it was quite a big story over here. Thomas Tuchel kind of did the classic, halftime team talk, which. Probably, and then they kind of performed for 15 minutes, absolutely through the kitchen sink at Croatia, and they could have scored 4 or 5. The keeper just kept them in it, and that was astonishing. Sort of haven't seen that in a World Cup from England for. I can't even tell you the last time we did that, but it's quite easy to do that in Jerry World in an air-conditioned stadium. But if you're going to be outside in, Meadowlands or even Mexico City, which is what it's looking like for the last 16, you really, I mean, he sent them to a training camp in Miami to kind of acclimatize, but the heat in Mexico City is going to be, well, it's going to be summer in Mexico City, and whether and how they can do that in short bursts. But what he did do was he effectively changed the front 3 behind Harry Kane totally, and they scored again. We've got. He left out some, Cole Palmer's not there, Phil Foden's not there, but he's kind of based the team around Kane.
Yep.
Sort of letting Harry Kane do what he does for Bayern Munich, scoring however many goals, almost a goal a game. And Kane also just looks happier. He's got Madueke on the right and Gordon he's got runners, and he can fire passes all over the place, and people have compared him to a quarterback. Yeah, fair enough, but and then if you don't leave him unmarked on corners, he's going to score a head like that.
Of all the talk around it, building around your star. I mean, you're seeing it work, and it's in the end, it's not like I'm sitting here rooting for England, but I love your squad and your ability. I mean, you talk about some guys left out of the mix. You still just roll with, like, Rashford's your sub. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, adding to the 5 subs, you effectively get to pull 5 badass European players off the pine and effectively change half your field players. That's crazy. And you guys got a ton of studs on that squad. But building around Harry Kane, that's the good side of it. Building around Cristiano Ronaldo, as fascinating as the idea is, has been an abject failure. Midfield behind him wasn't great the other day, but Ronaldo looks every bit of his age, doesn't he?
He does, and he also does not look popular among his teammates as well, which is not a great thing at all. And of course, the day before, Messi's gone out and scored a hat trick. So it's absolutely, and I just don't. I think that Roberto Martinez, the Portugal manager, yes, he's in a tricky position with, someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. It's a bit like Brett Favre, isn't it, in his second season for the Vikings? It's like you can't rest him because it's Brett Favre. But for the sake of the team, maybe, if we want to do something, perhaps, certainly you needed to take him off in that game. He can't be finishing that game at 41.
No, it was actually in some ways painful to watch. I've always looked at it like this: Messi, greatest overall player I've seen in my life, maybe ever. Cristiano Ronaldo, the most physically imposing scorer that we've ever seen. But when you take that physically imposing part of it out of the mix, everybody plays to Messi in Argentina because they love him. His teammates crying as he secures a hat trick. And you're right. I don't think it's all love with the teammates around Ronaldo. Just an interesting dynamic there. Time for a couple here, Peter. Is it just France is going to flip that switch and they're going to win it, and that's the end of the conversation? Or maybe Spain can be better than what we saw in the opener? How do you see this thing starting to unfold?
Well, I think you're going to have kind of an intense second round of games, and then you're going to have a lull, aren't you? The third game where teams are just going to be through and rest players, and I think you're going to see few walkovers in the last 32. Teams are going to take it seriously, but if you've got a player who's got a knock, he's not going to play. Mm-hmm. So and then it's going to come into life in the last 16 again. I mean, I sort of hark back to England and Mexico, but that's going to be Mexico. They're through. They were booed off at half time by their own fans. Mexico aren't a great team, but Mexico in Mexico City with the whole country behind them. I think England can do that, but and then you've got your heavyweights as well. I mean, Brazil are an interesting one, and then you've got Argentina. Yeah, they're kind of the 4 teams, aren't you? And I would add Portugal to that mix, but you've got the Ronaldo problem, and I just don't think Roberto Martinez is a good manager. So I think that's their problem. They've got the best squad in the tournament.
Yeah, they do.
Look at that midfield.
It's unbelievable.
They should not. Yeah. So, it would. Of course, it wouldn't surprise me to see France, and it really wouldn't surprise me to see Spain. No, in answer to your question.
No. Hey, I appreciate at some point, maybe closer to training camp, I'd love to catch up with you. I know that the Vikings may not be your singular or dominant focus, but just to chop it up again as we get closer to training camp, throw a little purple and gold into the mix. If your squad happens to hoist the trophy for the first time since 1966, we might have to have that conversation, tough as it'll be for me as an American fan. But I just really appreciate you finding some time to carve out and chat with me. And it was a blast, man. I hope all things are well, and we'll talk again soon.
And just a quick one for you. How long before we see the Viking row at US Bank Stadium?
Oh,
and it's same to you, mate.
Yeah.
Enjoy the World Cup.
Yeah. Cheers. No, thank you. Yeah. The Norway row, Erling Haaland. It's, we already took the bit from Iceland. We might as well take the row from Norway.
Taking things from everywhere.
Yeah. The row is sweet. Let's pause. Final segment, catch up on it, and put a stamp on the show next 9 to noon.
You're listening to Nordo in for PA on The Fan.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is coming.
Final segment. I love catching up with Peter Carline. And, it's classic. He's got an English accent, so naturally everything he says about soccer should be revered.
Correct.
And it is a more sophisticated and intellectual level. than what you would normally get on the American side of things. Can't wait for this match today, 2:00. Team USA and Australia. I mean, we it's Twins 4 in a row, and I believe they're in Arizona against the D-backs over the weekend. A team that's a game and a half out of the wild card. It's mid-June, so let's pump the brakes maybe on that becoming an instant thing. Pitching absolutely needs to improve down the stretch here and moving forward for them, but Buck is Buck, and Royce has been good since he returned. All of those things. NHL, crickets, NBA draft next week. I'm sure we're going to spend some time post vocal maintenance season for the host. PA and I drilling into that because, as we move forward here, soaking in kind of this month of this amazing tournament. I think it's amazing. I love it. This tournament here in the United States, as well as Canada and Mexico. Meanwhile, we're kind of chilling. We're kind of waiting for the QB competition to unfold down in Egan once training camp begins. It's going to be potentially a busy summer for Tim Connolly and the Howl with the draft and then free agency. It's potentially going to be a busy summer for Billy G with the draft. Oh, wait, we don't have any picks. And free agency and trades. So all that's good. But right now, it's just kind of, let's vibe with some red, white, and blue on a Friday. End your worked week early. Maybe check out Dugarel's down in Hastings. I'm going to be there. Brett's coming with me. Watch party, U.S. and Australia, 2 p.m. at Dugarel's in Hastings. Thank you so much to our guests today, whether it was Charch, Josh Wolf from the Loons out of the gates, Mr. Carline. Thank Brett. Thank you for listening 9 to noon. I believe Tenna is next. Have a great afternoon.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.